Good morning, Hosho staff, students, and families. Yateabin. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Our voices are off and bodies are still. Eyes are on the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, October 21st, and there are no birthdays in our school today, so happy unbirthday, everyone. Let's listen to some music. This is the piece that Mrs. Neff has provided for us this week to learn. And what were we listening to? Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 by Franz Liszt. That's right. Performed by someone who I think is about 8 years old. That's amazing. So if you get a chance, watch the young man performing this piece on YouTube. That's on our channel that Mrs. Neff has found for us. Let's see. I was going to play a song, but I'm always worried that there's going to be a commercial, so I fret about that a little bit because I don't want to have to listen to commercials. How about this piece? We haven't listened to this one in a while. Every time I hear that, I picture this big ballroom with people dancing and big dresses and military uniforms. Is that what you imagine when you hear that? What is that piece that we were listening to? The Blue Danube Waltz, or On the Beautiful Blue Danube, and it's by Johann Strauss II. Yes. Okay, our poem this week is a short one, but it has a very important message. It's called The Wise Old Owl by Edward Hersey Richards. A wise old owl sat on an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why aren't we like that wise old bird? Did you ever notice that when there's a conflict or there's a problem, if you listen more, you can maybe solve that problem rather than trying to say what you have to say all the time. Listen to what somebody else is saying and maybe you can solve that problem. Take the advice of the wise old owl. Okay, our artist of this week, Diego Velázquez from Spain from the 1600s or the 17th century, in middle of the 1600s. He was doing most of his painting, and he was very popular with the royal house, the king, and all of the aristocrats or the people who were in the royal family in Spain at the time. And you remember he painted exactly, very closely to what people actually look like. And do you remember what he looked like? Because the very first one we looked at was his self-portrait. Right, there he is, Diego Velázquez. Right, if you had to do a self-portrait, what would it look like? And remember who the king was in Spain at the time? It was Philip IV, King Philip IV in Spain. And remember, this one is King Philip IV in brown and silver. Remember? And we know that that is an exact likeness because that's what Velázquez was famous for. Well, the next one I have to show you is a portrait of Pope Innocent X. Pope Innocent X. It was painted in 1650. And this one actually, to me, looks almost like a photograph. It is so clear. Take a look at what Pope Innocent X looked like in 1650. Right, Pope Innocent X, the Pope, the Catholic Church. Remember we talked about who could afford to have portraits painted at that time? Kings and people in the church, right? We talked about that before, that the common person just couldn't go and have their portrait painted. It was too expensive. They couldn't afford it. And so it was only special and rich and wealthy people who were able to afford it and to have that done. And then we get to keep them. And so we can see how people dressed and looked and what the styles were back then, and also appreciate the skill that they had as portrait painters. So let's see, next we want to talk about the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. And like we said, don't forget, it's very important. Do you remember this from yesterday? I saved it here to remind you. I voted. Make sure everyone in your family, your friends, anybody over 18 has one of these stickers at some point between now and the first Tuesday in November, the official election day. It's very important that we make sure we protect our rights, because we, the people, are the government. There isn't somebody there to make sure that we do things right. We have the responsibility, so it's our government. And so that's why we're learning these things, so that when you're 18 and you're ready to vote, or maybe we'll be voting for you. Maybe you'll be on the ticket. Maybe you'll be one of the people representing us, because that's entirely possible. Okay, so First Amendment. Let's say it together. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How are we doing? Are you able to say those two all by yourself? I hope so. The Third Amendment. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner prescribed by law. Right? Now the Fourth Amendment we just heard for the first time yesterday. So let's say this together. I'll say it and you repeat it. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Right. Let's say it one more time together. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Right? So nobody can come to your house and go through your stuff. They can't just barge in the door and say, step aside and go through all your things and go through your car, or go to where you work and go through your computer or go through your desk. They can't take things out of your pockets if the government wants to. They have to have a probable cause. They have to have a reason, and they have to go to a judge and say what that reason is and swear an oath, make a promise to God. Like, put your hand on the Bible and say, this is the absolute truth, before they can get a warrant. And the warrant can only be specifically stated. So if they wanted to search your garage for something, they would have to write that in there. And then they can't go in your house just because they come into your garage. It has to say exactly on that warrant what they are able to do. And so we have that protection so that a government doesn't become too strong and start to take over things and to not protect us anymore. And so remember, it's our duty, it's our right, it's our duty, if the government starts to not protect us, to throw off such government, right? Hopefully we never come to that if we protect the things that are important. So that's why we learn these amendments, because they were important at the time that our U.S. Constitution was written, and they're still important today. Less so the quartering one of the soldiers. Maybe we don't have to worry about that one as much right now, but you just want to make sure that it's in there and protected, because that would really be terrible if we went back to those days where the government had that kind of power over the people, because now the government is the people, we the people, right? So it's our job. So it's Bring Your Family to PE Week still. So make sure you check out all the things that Mrs. Toledo Bale has put on Canvas if you are in grades 1 to 4. And report cards will hopefully come out this Friday. Materials are ready for quarter 2 if parents want to pick them up, or if you're in school, we'll just give them to you. The governor did give another address, a press conference yesterday, but it doesn't seem to impact schools yet. So fingers are crossed that we are able to stay open and continue to do work in school. So that's all the news that we have for today. So let's say our student pledge together. I will do the good, I will learn the true, and I will love the beautiful. And I hope you have a great day today.